Hey guys, welcome back to the Diet Doc Life Mastery Podcast. I'm Joe Klemzeski here with Dr. Kori Probst, and we're going to have a really cool conversation, I think, because Kori told me we're going to talk about agency. And to me, Kori, that has two connotations. One, psychologically, I know it's a good thing for us to have agency, to feel agency of our own lives. There's another definition where we often give that up, and it's not necessarily negative, but we choose to believe in something, a supernatural, and we give agency to that which may or may not exist, but at least in our minds it does. So I'm going to let you take the wheel here and explain this to me.
Okay. Well, I was struck recently by a number of the responses that you received actually on a post you made regarding an event that you were a part of called Wielding Power. And you had asked people, what is power to you? And received a whole host of varied responses. One of mine was, you said, what do you think about when you hear the word power? And I said, my bike, because everything is measured in terms of power. So to me, power is like energy generated. And I thought, well, that's a really kind of neat metaphor for just life in general. The energy generated based upon how you act or don't act, and how you give meaning to different things in your life, and what you attribute or how you attribute the various consequences of your actions. And power to me is, if we were to choose a synonym for it, it's agency. It's literally the ability to act as an effective agent for your life, for yourself. It means reflecting. It means making skillful choices, and it means constructing something meaningful and purposeful within your life. And so, Joe, all of those things require energy, the generation of energy and the usage of energy. Without energy, we don't have the capacity for agency, right? Or power, for that matter. So I have clients who will experience setbacks of some sort or another, who have incredibly disparate responses to those mistakes made or those disappointments, whatever they are. One person may react in a very kind of downtrodden, lack of hope, loss averse manner. So it may sound like, I don't know what to do. I can't believe this happened. I'm not sure what step to take now. It's never going to get any better. I never thought that, why did I ever think that this could change for me, sort of a thing. And then I have other clients who respond in the opposite way, and it's curious. It's like, I'm not really sure how this happened. I want to understand this better. There's a different energy underneath that sort of a response, right? There's a different sort of power serving as a foundation for their approach. So there's curiosity there. There's a sense of confidence that, okay, so this didn't go so well, and like, I'll figure it out. Like, I don't have the answers right now, and I don't necessarily have a trajectory, but I know that I can figure it out, and especially with your help, Kori. So like, let's collaborate, and maybe we can get to the bottom of this, and you can help me tease this apart. That's agency. That's this sense of effectiveness and skillfulness in managing your life. And I think about the basic psychological need of autonomy that we've talked about so often too, and it goes really right along with it. And Joe, power, agency, it's active, right? It's not passive. And so when you described in the introduction how some individuals put the responsibility on someone or something else, or maybe blame other people or circumstances for where they are right now, that's a very passive, unpowerful way or unagentic way of responding to life. Do you notice the dichotomy between like your clients and how they respond?
The one thing I think of as I listen to you explain agency is it's spring now in Evansville, as you can tell by my allergies. I'm gonna sound like
and hacking it up over
there. And so, sometimes you don't even notice how dark and dreary it's been until you walk outside and it's 70 degrees and sunny, and all of a sudden you just feel this intensity. And I know biochemically, serotonin, dopamine, all these things are firing. All of a sudden you're rolling your windows down, you're singing, you feel different. And that can be exactly how somebody feels when they feel less than that, in control of their own agency. And then somebody comes along and says, no, we can do this together. Here's something, just a little encouragement or some nugget of information that spurs them to some action. And you're right, it does increase activity, not passivity. But this is the whole point of my lecture in LA was, we do have the individual ego sides of us, and we have the collective social sides. And you always have to have some kind of synergy there. But that's why I love that Chinese proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I just love that about agency. It's not either or. Agency, you can make the wrong assumption that, okay, it's all about me, pick myself up by the bootstraps and be full of just piss and vinegar, and I'm gonna be a full agent for myself. Well, that's great. We need that. But it's a lot more helpful if you have people in your life helping you do that, and you're doing it together.
Yeah, I agree with you. And when I look at agency in terms of what individuals are doing who have it, and a high level of it, and who are building it in their lives, that is one thing, is they're influencing what stimulates them. And one of those things is people and the connections that they're making with others. And they very selectively associate with individuals who bring their energy up. We all have people that we recognize in our lives that like drain, it feels like they drain the energy right out of us. Our batteries need recharging after any sort of situation with them. So I do think that we need to be reflective and careful about who we are in the presence of. And this isn't, I don't want this to sound like selfish. And this isn't me saying like, cast out all the people in your life who drain your energy, but it's to be careful and skillful about how much energy and power you are giving away, and how much comes back to you in the form of your relationship, so that you can help more people. Because I think that is a part of power, is how well can you, and do you have the capacity to not just influence your life, but the lives of other people. So to me, a lot of my power, Joe, I feel like an agency is derived from this sense of and desire for contributing in a very meaningful way to other people's lives, and sense of clarity and purpose. And without that, that's where I can begin to feel sad and maybe even a little hopeless, like, because that's what brings me joy. So I'm going to throw the ball back in your court now that I'm getting emotional.
No, well, what's amazing to me is if you can keep that perspective, that agency and power and that social capital is always you with your full autonomy. Mm-hmm. But within your autonomy, you get to create groups and this interpersonal neurobiology place in your brain to do things together. I heard an evolutionary biologist today in a podcast give a great example. Yeah. I didn't know this, but when a pilot is in an airplane and he's flying, he's in the cockpit, it's on autopilot. Mm-hmm. All he has to just do is say, "My aircraft," and boom, autopilot's off and he's got control. And I think that's a pretty good picture of, here we are on autopilot where we have our support system, we have people around us, but it's not passive. We don't rely on them. You still say, "My aircraft," every single time you need to make a decision and you need to make a change and you need direction. You have those people to support you, but you don't rely on them exclusively.
Yeah, that's an interesting metaphor, Joe. It's almost like saying that gives you this kind of mental cognitive reboot to check where you're at, what you're paying attention to, and kind of what needs your energy in those moments. Yeah.
It makes me think, so you gave me a book a long time ago from Dr. Tanya Luhrmann, who teaches in San Diego now. Mm-hmm. And I did not know this term, but absorption capacity. Mm-hmm. When you do a functional MRI of somebody and you say, think of your best friend, think of your this, think of some person, and then think of your God or deity or supernatural thing that you think is in your life, it lights up the same area in the cortex and the limbic system as a 5-year-old child with an imaginary friend. So our social relationships, real or imagined, are emanating from the exact same place in our consciousness. And that shows how powerful we rely on them. But to your exact point, if we over-rely on them passively, we'll never feel in control and we'll never have command and agency over our own power. They're important. We need them.
Yeah.
But we have to maintain that agency.
Well, and it's because if we lose touch with our own very personal values, we're wafting in the wind. We don't have rudders. We don't have a foundation. So I think to conclude, Joe, everything that you just said made me think of a quote by the Buddha. Speaks really well to what you were saying. He said, "Avoid the company of the immature if you want joy." And then followed that up with, if you find no one to accompany you on your spiritual path, whatever that looks like, your motives, your values, what's guiding you, walk alone. There is no companionship with the immature. So we do thrive with connection, and that type of connection is incredibly important.
Yeah, and I'm going to draw from what you have taught me about relational individuation and say that the social relationships we have should actually increase our agency. We should get more power from them, not less.
That's it.
So awesome stuff, Kori. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for watching and listening. We love these conversations because we feel like you are a part of them. We don't sit here and just talk to each other. We do understand in our agency that you're out there and hopefully gleaning some good information. So please Feel free to ask any questions you have. We would love to interact with you in the comments sections.
Yeah.
And keep that up, and we will catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.